Good evening, everybody. It's 6:01 here. Sorry, 7:01 in the UK. And thank you very much for that. I enjoyed that music. I love rock and roll on. It's really good. Yes, so what we're doing, I'll tell you what, tonight I'm all finger and thumbs and everything. So you got to bear with me tonight. No, we got someone on tonight. And are you? Is this Dallas? Are you called Dallas?
Yes, I am.
What a name that is! Explain to everybody, Dallas, who are you? Where did you come from, and what do you do?
Alrighty. Well, Dallas actually has a old Scottish name from Macintosh clan, over 600 years old. So I was given a name long before there was a Texas. I'm from North America, Canada, and the West Coast. I am a 16-hour coach and an emotional baggage handler. And what we're talking about is our story.
Yeah, yeah,
Love how long the bottom of the screen you have. Do you have a story? We are stories.
yeah,
You are a story. I am a story. And we are storytellers. That's what we do. When
yeah.
I meet you, Steve, at a party one evening, and I'm introduced, and I say, "Nice to meet you, Steve. Can you tell me something about yourself?" And
Yeah,
that will be you starting to tell your story.
yeah, yeah. And that's it. And that's what our podcast is all about. And we accept anybody from who has a story to tell. It could be from drugs, it could be kind of like therapy, it could be anything. And my goal is to help people out there. Um, uh, Numbers to me are not important. Views are not important. As long as the message gets out there, Dallas, that's
Yeah,
all I care about.
that's what we're all doing here, I think. We're trying to share the struggles we've been through that someone might be inspired by something and help themselves get a little further down the road to a healthier, happier life.
Dallas,
And
why a coach? Why did you decide to become a coach?
I didn't decide to. It just happened. And I'll tell you that in this story. Like almost every child goes through tough times, some people are very traumatized by things that happen to them when they're young. And I had my fair share of those moments, emotional and physical abuse and bullying. And they create emotional baggage that we carry with us for years, some people for their whole life. And that baggage can get very painful, a lot of suffering, a lot of voice in the head holding you back, telling you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't succeed, you're a failure, all these sorts of things. And over time, I went to drugs and alcohol to try and escape my story mind, to escape the story that told me I'm in this pain. And that's what addiction really is an attempt to get away from it, to not have to deal with your real self, to not have to be responsible for your true self. And that painful journey for almost everyone, it pressurizes your nervous system. And there comes a point where the body expresses the buildup of stress and regrets and pain and anxiety. These things build pressure, and the body is where it usually shows itself. And people become obese, people get heart disease, all sorts of ailments will come through the body from the mind. So I got lucky. One morning I woke up with cancer. It was the best day of my life. It started a 1 year period I called the year of life collapse. because in that year I went through cancer and treatment. I lost my wife, my family, my house, my business. I ended up broke, alone, suicidal, and still an alcoholic in exactly 1 year.
Oh,
And for me, that is the greatest year of my life, because it was such a disaster. It gave me that black and white moment of kill yourself or change. There is no other option. You couldn't return to what you were. I hate the idea of recovery in addiction, because I think, what would I recover? Recover a life I had that led me to addiction? Recover that past story that has almost killed me? Why would I want to recover? I don't want to recover. I want to go forward into a totally new world. And so a couple of really great things happened to me just a couple weeks apart. The first one was when I was literally planning to kill myself. A friend showed up and said, let's see, you went through cancer, lost your wife, your house, your family, your business, and you're an alcoholic, and you're still alive? Man, you must be strong. And I thought, strong? I thought I was weak and broken. And that sort of put a light bulb on and went, you mean I've actually gone through something that was hard and I'm actually strong, not weak? I hadn't really thought of myself that way. So I thought, maybe, yeah, I guess that is a lot to go through. And then just a week or two later, I'm listening to a podcast one night while I'm chopping onions for dinner. And I'm semi-listening, it's just on in the background. And the man on it was talking about consciousness. And he said this one line. And I preface this by saying, understand, we are historical beings. Everything we do is from our past. Everything we know, we have learned from yesterday. Our yesterdays are our life. Everything we could tell someone about ourselves comes from our history, from everything we've been through, everything we've been told, everything we've learned and understood and felt. So this man on this podcast says this line, show me yesterday. That was it. Show me yesterday. I almost fell on the floor because my mind was absolutely living yesterday. Yesterday brought me to the edge of suicide, almost destroyed my life. My entire life is believing my history, my story. And when this man said, show me yesterday, I thought to myself, Steve, can I go to a cupboard and pull yesterday out and go, look, here's yesterday? No. Where is it? What is it? It's just a memory. It's just something I believe is me. And in when you analyze it, you find out very quickly, it's not you. It's a story about you. A story isn't real. It's not actually a person. It's just a story we tell ourselves almost every day. And we tell other people when we communicate with them. But what is the truth of a belief? You believed things 10 years ago you don't believe today. And you will believe things in 10 years that you don't believe today. So how real and truthful is any belief? And right away I said, I don't have to believe my story. It's just a story. I was traumatized at 10 years old, but it's not happening today. I'm the one who had to carry it with me and keep it alive. I had to sit in my own movie theater and watch my movie play over and over and over until it became me, until it hurt everywhere. I did that to me. No one did it to me. That's the story I believe is the truth. And the story can kill you. We live in a world of collective story. where we have wars and we slaughter human beings. Why? Because we believe a story of ego, a story of fear and insecurity, us versus them, you versus me. These aren't true. We've fallen into believing these stories are life. So people would say, but that's crazy. That is life. What other story could there be? What other reality are you talking about? And I would say this. Have you ever looked into a baby's eyes? I mean, a brand new baby, fresh out of the oven, new human being just born. Everyone looks into that baby's face and they only see love, beauty, happiness. That's all they see. What does every parent want for their child? To be healthy, to be happy. That's all. They don't really care if they're an astronaut or a doctor or a lawyer, as long as they're healthy and happy. That's what we all crave in our own lives. Everything we do is to feel good. Everything we work toward in life, even retirement, a time to do what? To relax, to enjoy life, to be happy. That's all human beings are here to do, I think. The meaning of life is happiness. It's nothing else. So if we are born that happy being, 2 months ago, my mother died. Only 3 hours before her death, I looked down into her face. And what did I see? The same as the baby's face. Just beauty, love, the happiness of life. At the beginning and the end is who we truly are. We have filled the middle with a story. And every pain and suffering and anger and upset and problem and difficulty in life only comes from a story we believe. Either in our memory or from yesterday, pain, suffering, regret of things I've done, or imagining tomorrow will be a problem. And so it creates anxiety and worry and fear. These things are in our imagination. They're not true. You're a beautiful, happy, loving human being. You always will be. That's all you will ever be. But we cover it up and we forget it and we miss it. And we think it's all this complex, difficult world swirling around us every minute. And there's a war over here, and there's climate change here, and there's crazy politics here. And oh my God, times are just nutty. They've always been nutty. Every era has been crazy to the people living in it.
I agree.
Over thousands of years, if you talk to any human being, they'd say, oh, times are pretty weird. It sure is crazy. The world is moving so fast.
Dallas, I want to, sorry for troubling you, but I wanted to know how people are saying to me on here, how has Dallas coped, because you seem to have lost everybody in your life, right, in a short period of time. How did you cope, Dallas? Tell us.
I didn't cope. Coping is a problem. What does coping mean? Coping means I've got this real big difficulty that's hurting me. It's so hard to struggle with. And so what does all therapy do? Or doctors do? Well, doctor gives you medicine. What does the medicine do? Helps you cope. Helps you deal with it. What does therapy do? It gives you techniques and management of your emotional well-being so that you can cope with the pain. I didn't cope. I left it. I walked away. I didn't recover from alcohol. I just left alcohol. I don't need it anymore because I'm not carrying the baggage that caused the pain that needs the medication.
I'm sure, but if you went through like the death of your mum and your wife and the alcohol, you know, and you left it behind and everything, what was, and you said that you were suicidal. When I was younger, I remember kind of like in a period of time when I hit the bottle and everything, and I was suicidal, and I was going to jump off a bridge,
Right.
right? But the trouble is, we come to a point in our life with saying, right, let's make a decision. Let's die or live. You know, and
Yes.
mostly, hopefully, people who's listening now are saying, "Yeah, okay, I want to live. I don't want to die." But sometimes when we get into that depressive mood, we feel like life is no more,
Right.
and we can't go anywhere else because sometimes nobody will listen
Yeah.
and nobody cares. Now, losing everything that in your life, you must been down to a point in your life when you're suicidal. You think, oh well, everybody else is gone. I want to kill myself.
Yes. I was exactly there. And not to belittle suicide, that's even a rational moment. It's not crazy to think about killing yourself. It's actually quite rational, because why would I have to carry this pain and this weight when I know I could just leave?
Mm.
Right? I mean, I don't mean to belittle suicide, because I know it's an incredibly powerful moment. But we make it as if, oh, you must be sick. I don't think you are sick. I think you are massively confused, deceived by your story and the world around you. And when you find the opening in that door where the light comes in and says, wait a minute, this truly is an invention of your mind. We are inventions of our mind. It is hard for us. I work with a lot of people, and there's tremendous fear of saying it's all in your mind, as if that was making light of it.
Is it? Is it?
It's
Is it
not
in your
making
mind?
light. It's not making light. The truth is, it is in our mind. Where else could it be? We are mind beings. It could not be anywhere else. It's not in my pocket. It's not in my
No.
shoe. It's not sitting in a cupboard somewhere. So, of course, it's how we are thinking, how we are accepting the pain that comes. It doesn't mean life is easy in any way. It doesn't mean people have it easier than others. I mean, some do in a way, but everyone walks a hard road. Everyone gets knocked down. Of course, it's different for everyone. There are people who are traumatized by tiny little moments. And there are other people who can get hit by a truck and walk away and go, oh, well, it's the way it goes. We're all different. I get that. But it's still how we accept, how I grab onto the belief this is me. That pain, that suffering is mine. And when I do that, it becomes me. We make it a part of the fabric of our being. And that is the weight we carry. So what changed for me was just the realization I do not have to own it. People say, oh, you have to accept. I go, why? What is this belief we have? That we have these things and they are ours. We must have them. We don't. No one can hurt me unless I let them hurt me. My giving my strength to you is saying things like, I'll be happy if you like me. And if you don't like me, I'm hurt. Well, how's that possible? You not liking me has nothing to do with me. And yet we do this every day. We put our meaning, our feelings in other people, in other
It's a blame
situations.
game, isn't it? It's a blame game.
We're not taking responsibility for
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. Mm.
The radical responsibility is I am the creator of my life. You can't create my life. The past can't create my life. Only if I accept that. Only if I embrace it and say, yeah, that's my reality. But that's just a thought. That's just a belief. We do not have to believe where we are in life at any moment, because life is this beautiful, happy place. If we can see past the clouds are huge. The storm's immense. It's got us scared. We are insecure, frightened beings. There's no doubt about it. But we also possess incredible strength. Incredible strength. And people find it out. I would see people go into cancer treatment, and some people had given up right away. They got a diagnosis. They were sure they were going to die. And you know what? A lot of them did. And there were also people who got a diagnosis and said, hell with that. I'm fighting and I'm going to win. And a lot of them did. It's not 100%, but this mind is incredibly powerful. And at your worst moment, your absolute worst moment, the strength you will find is never going to be in someone else. It's always going to be in yourself. It's always been there. It will always be there. Tapping into it takes some real work. It doesn't mean this is easy. It doesn't mean it's simple. It doesn't mean in one moment you change your mind. You know, when I heard the man say, show me yesterday, it took me 6 months of thinking every day about what this means, this yesterday, my history, how powerful it is. What does it truly mean? It took 6 months until one day I went, holy crap, it's a lie. It's just a story. No more truthful than any other story. Hollywood gives us movies that can make us cry. Why? Because we attach to stories so strongly. And that story in Hollywood is no different than my story. That's why people's lives are made into movies. They're just stories. And when you get to a point where you disbelieve the story, the freedom is stunning. Because those bags just fall away. You realize you're the one that's been carrying them. Nobody else. No one's to blame. You're responsible. It is the most fabulous, freeing moment you can imagine. I mean, that is the light. You want proof? I can give you really strong proof of this whole concept. And that proof is this. A friend of mine who drank with me at the pub every single day after work for years, he also became a drug addict. He ended up with terrible bipolar disorder and all sorts of, he went to a hospital. He ended up in a hospital. When he was released, he went to the streets and he became homeless and on alcohol and drugs and anything he could take to stay high. And we all know these stories. We see them around us in every city in the world. And it's a horrible story. About 6-8 months ago, I'm in a coffee shop, and who walks in but this guy? And he looks normal, well-dressed, happy. He sees me and wow. And we sit down together and start talking. And I'm right away, tell me your story. So he tells me this tragic story he went through. And I said, well, but your life looks normal. What do you mean? How have you changed? What turned it around? And he said, a guy talking religion one day, and I began to listen, and I went to a couple of meetings, and it made sense to me. And I gave myself to Jesus and religion, and it saved me. And I no longer have these mental worries and concerns. I'm free of alcohol and drugs. His whole life was saved, but was it saved by religion or saved by a new story? And that's what religion is. It is a story. And I'm not saying it critically, because if religion works for you and gives you this strength, this healthy mindset, a community of other people that are supportive, it's wonderful. But understand you have just changed to a new story. You're believing a new story that supports you in a healthy manner. That's all that's happening. So for me, that just reinforces the fact that the story is a story, just something we believe.
Tell us, Dallas, about your business. A bit about your business, what you do, about a client. If a client comes to you and they need help, what kind of help, what kind of support you give them, and well, basically tell them what you do.
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, I didn't choose to be a coach. When I was trying to rebuild myself physically and mentally, I started going to a gym, and people around me would see the change and go, "Oh, can you help me with this and that?" And so I began just normally helping people with theirs. Pretty soon it was people, "Can you coach me?" And I'd start doing that. And I ran into the same roadblock every single time in people. And that was the mental. The biggest roadblock in our lives, physically, our diet, exercise, anything, comes down to our head.
Yeah.
And so I was running this roadblock and I kept going, what is the problem? Everyone was carrying some sort of baggage that told them what they couldn't do, that they weren't good enough, and they would procrastinate and put things off and not want to face things. And this led me towards the story and the mind. And pretty soon I ended up working with people about talking about their story so they could try and figure out where was the roadblocks. And so now when people come to me, as they do, to talk about the story mind, one of the first things I have people do is take their phone and record themselves a video telling their story as if they were talking to a friend. And I have them do this, 8, 10 times in a month, over and over. Tell your story. Make a movie of your story. Watch yourself on video telling your story back to you. Watch it as if you were a friend listening to you. Because that's separation. If you can get yourself away from yourself and see yourself in a video, you begin to pick up cues and thoughts about the story that make you go, yeah, I don't know if I remember that exactly. Maybe that's not quite how it happened. We begin guessing and second guessing our story and saying, what if? What if this story isn't exactly you? What if you've told it so many times? Do you know the old adage of, Uncle Bill's fish story?
Yeah.
Every time he tells it, the fish gets bigger.
Yeah.
When we tell our stories, we tend to inflate and exaggerate and build them up every time. And when you look at them really deeply, you will see, what is the story I'm telling? Is it the truth? Has it got fragments of truth? Absolutely. Did things happen to me? Absolutely. I'm not denying that. But have I carried that story? Have I inflated, exaggerated, built that story, filled in the gaps that I was maybe hazy on? You begin to see this, and you begin to take the power back from the story because you realize that story is not me. That's the movie I'm watching, just as I can watch it on my cell phone after I've recorded it. When I say, I hate myself, who am I talking to? Who is I and who is myself? Myself is the story. I'm angry at my behavior in my story. But I am angry. Who am I? That's the true self talking to your story. When you begin to realize this separation, you begin to what if your life. What if this isn't true? What if I can be stronger than I ever thought possible? What if I don't have to carry this weight, this pain, this suffering anymore? What if? Who's to tell me it's not true? I am. No one else.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one controls me. No one.
Yeah. Brilliant. Dallas, tell us how people can get in contact with you.
Well, if you have my name there on the screen, I can't hide in this day and age. No one can. No one.
Yeah.
Just add an at gmail.com. DallasCollis@gmail.com. And it's that easy. I talk to anyone.
Right. Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to get some questions in. Rob wants to know, Dallas, you've got an interesting name. Is that your real name?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
it was a terrible name to have as a child. In the 1960s, I had red hair and freckles and a name like Dallas. Every boy was Tom and Bill and David. And I was
Yeah.
this weirdo, so it was terrible to have.
Nah, you're not a weirdo. Dallas, if somebody came to you today and no, we'll leave that one till later. Um, how how long have you been a coach now? And have you ever had any moments that you didn't want to talk about? What?
I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I've been coaching for about 2 years now. Moments I don't want to talk about. Well, not anymore.
No.
Because now I just there's nothing to hide.
Yeah.
To me now, it's just all open. There's no worry, there's no concern, there's no fears in me. So I have nothing I go, oh, I'm not sure I can talk about that.
Okay. Dallas, do you have a faith?
Yeah, I have a faith in all of human beings and our ability to find that peaceful, loving happiness. The ultimate faith that we are a part of a great grand universe, that at the subatomic level, we're all made of the exact same universal space dust. That's all we are. And everything else is a creation.
Tina wants to know, hi Steve, would it be possible you can get Dallas on your podcast again because he is very interested and we need somebody. Well, yeah, I will ask Dallas later on. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Nice to see you, Dallas, all the way from. My name's Sean. I'm from California, um, Scotland. Hello, Dallas. Nice to talk to you and Steve. Would it be possible if you can tell me if you got a book?
Can you see right behind me?
Yep.
That's my latest book right there. It's called The Gift is the Present.
Brilliant. So there you go. So
these are all my books. I've got 4 books behind me here. The first one was Cancer Combat, when I came out of cancer. The second one, I'm going the wrong way. It's hard to figure it out. The second one right there was called The Step System, because the reason I'm called a 16-hour coach is I took my life and made it one day. If you look at 24 hours and say, if I sleep 8 hours, I have 16 hours of living that anyone does in one day. And the reality is your whole life happens only ever in one day. So for me, the step system was, if I get up in the morning, can I go for a 30-minute walk today to look after my body? Yeah, I can probably do that. In one day, I can go for a walk. In one day, can I eat a little better and try and be a little healthier? Yeah, I can do that for one day. Could I phone a friend or a family member and tell them I love them? Yeah, I could probably do that in one day. And pretty soon, you can put your whole life in one day. And when you practice it each day and do the best you can, your life becomes great. Because it only ever happens one day. You only have to do anything for one day. Your discipline, your drive, your courage only has to be one day. And tomorrow, tomorrow is the gift. You get a do-over. You get another day.
Yeah.
Every day you've got this gift. And all you have to do is do well for one day.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Tina wants to know what drives you.
What drives me? The beauty, the love, the happiness of life. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, I used to be, before this, exhausted. I mean, I couldn't get out and go for a walk. All I wanted to do was eat Doritos and sit on the couch and watch YouTube. And, you know, I mean, I was a disaster. There was no energy. And that's because it was taken up by the baggage. That stuff destroys us. And the comfort and convenience of life around us, it's easy to fall in there. One of the things I did was, you know, do you have your chair, Steve? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their chair.
Yeah.
Well, I have my chair. And I'd get up in the morning, first thing, make some coffee and go sit in my chair. So when I was going to rebuild my life, I took that chair and put it out in a garden shed. So I'd walk into the room in the morning and see this hole in the floor where my chair was. And that said to me, you're not going to sit down. You need to be awake and go after it. This is your life today.
Yeah,
one
well
day.
done. Well done.
I've got a sticky note on my TV right now behind me. And that sticky note says, get off your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the TV looking at me and saying, I know what you're doing. That's not what you should be doing.
Yeah. Steve, would it be possible if you can ask Dallas to come back again and talk about his cancer, please? It would be interesting as my parents are going through cancer at this moment in time. I will ask Dallas, and I'm sure we'll be able to sort something out. This has been a great podcast. Dallas is very enthusiastic, and even though he lost everything, I think he's a great person to know. Oh, thank you for that.
Steve, I didn't lose anything. I gained everything.
There you go. There you go.
I got everything. I didn't lose a thing.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Sorry, I'm just reading people's comments here. Dallas, would it be possible if we say hello to Brenda? She's 90 today, but she's had cancer, and she says it's a shame that you're too far away, as I'm in Australia, and I like rock climbing and dancing. Gosh, you do rock climbing at your age. Well done.
Wow, Brenda. Way to go. The strength and power. It's just fabulous.
It is, isn't it? It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for your comments. What we're going to do, we're going to get some information up for you to contact us. I will definitely ask Dallas about if we can do something next month or something. But in the meantime, Dallas, I want to ask you the last few questions. These are like silly questions, right? Make it better fun. I always do this. So if you won $1 million, what would you do with it?
$1 million. I would try and write more books, reach more people, be on more podcasts, try and support as many people as possible. That's what I do. That's all I want to do with the rest of my life.
Good. And also, if there's one person in your life, who is it that who's? Sorry, I'm trying to read the right end. If there's one person in your life you admire, who is it?
Wow, my God, there's so many. Boy, I don't. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, my idol was Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that's my idol. Yeah.
Not because of the great boxing, but because of his ability to say that he was gonna, and he did. His ability to be brash and braggadocious in a way that was possible.
Yeah.
That you could believe in yourself as a bigger entity. And so still today, I'm a lover of boxing, and it's a great metaphor for life. to learning how to move and slip and duck and not get punched, not get knocked down. Learn how to work with life and not be beaten up by it.
And
So
if you get knocked down, folks, you get back up again.
that's for sure. And you can.
Yeah, and you can. Of course you can.
Yeah.
Dallas, thank you so much for joining me. I know it was short notice, but I'm really great to get to know you. We will have Dallas on. We will stay in contact. If you stay there for a second, I will speak to you. And so, guys, I will see everybody later on. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget, tomorrow we got somebody on who's been in prison, and he was in prison, supposed to be for life, but he's come out, and he's changed his life now. And yeah, let's listen to the story about that. And thank you very much for joining us, and good night.